Hello, everyone. This is Andrew, the Archon Philosopher, talking philosophy to the philosopher in all of us. Today, I want to talk about the difference between consciousness and sentience, ideas that are on my mind. Excuse the pun. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for liking and subscribing and getting in touch with the channel. It's great news. So, what is consciousness? Well, I'm going to say there's lots of definitions out there. There's no agreement on a difference between consciousness and sentience. People have it defined in different ways and oppositional ways. Not to worry. I'm willing to go with any definition you put out there, just as long as we can agree on what it means. But generally, consciousness is seen as awareness and response. So you're aware of the world, and then you respond to it. So in this, a rock is conscious. You hit it with a hammer, and it sort of shakes, and then it responds by fracturing. Okay? Then you have a light switch. You turn it on, and it closes the circuit, and the electrical fields can form. The energy can flow down the fields. So this is slightly more complex. And then we make it to plants, and plants are aware of the sunshine, turn their leaves towards it. The root system has a chemical reaction to the water and nutrients. Then we make it to animals, and as we move up the line of animals, it gets more complex. We have response to emotions, response to various stimuli in the environment far away. And so we're moving up in sophistication. Now, as to dolphins, whales, and great apes, I remain agnostic. I've not been convinced one way or the other. However, a recent insight that there's $100,000 fine for trying to talk to a dolphin. Like, what is this? That's a huge amount of money. It's a $700 fine for punching someone in the face. So what is it that you can't talk or try to talk to dolphins? This is massively out of balance. I don't know what they're trying to do, whoever they are, but this is just bizarre. Anyway, so we're at animals, and so let's go to sentience. So from this, we can put some criteria in. So it's awareness, but it's also awareness of being aware. It's awareness of being aware, unlimited, and then it's the ability to communicate creatively about this or anything else. In fact, so creatively that you can turn it upside down and lie about it for any reason or no reason. This is sentience. It's the full range of awareness and response. So, what we're seeing in the world is that only humans are sentient, although some people have claimed to communicate with non-human sentient creatures, and we should look into that. But what we have here in sentience is, we have awareness of being aware. And that is really, you're looking into a mirror and you see yourself looking back, and suddenly your being in the world is exposed, and now your being is somewhat of issue to you, as Heidegger would say. You see yourself, and this is sort of a transcendence. So you transcend yourself, and thus you gain a freedom to act, a freedom to think. You're aware of yourself as the actor and the thinker. But then we can go one level further. We can be looking in front of the mirror, and then we can imagine ourselves in a corner of a room looking down at ourselves, looking at ourselves in the mirror. And so this is transcendence again, and we're just gaining ever more freedom, and this results ultimately in free will. We're not tied down to any perspective. We're not locked into being one thing. We can be this, we can be that, we can be up in the corner, or that corner, looking at that corner, looking down. We can imagine ourselves with this freedom in the world. And so this is a great position to be in. It's a great gift. Enjoy this gift of sentience. It's wonderful. Communicate it very creatively, very flexibly. One example would be, okay, back to the hammer. You hit your finger with the hammer, and you go, So this is sort of an instinctual response. It's just, I don't know, every language group would have the sound, I guess, but it's just an instinctual response. But you can hit yourself in the finger with a hammer and go, hey, that was nice. And here you're just having fun. You're just having fun. It still hurts, but you're just playing with the world. You have freedom. You have free will to decide how to respond to events. And this is a great thing. And this brings me to another topic which came up recently when I was looking at the subjective people trying to get to the intersubjective reality by subjective feelings and stuff. And this is not going to happen. But what we find is a lot of these people have like a stamp, like your personality, your self-identity is stamped into you when you're born or something. But I'm going to bring up two pre-Socratic Greek philosophers, and Heraclitus said you cannot step into the same river twice. Well, that's because the first time you step into it, you take your foot out, and by the time you step in it again, the water's changed. New water enters, water leaves. It's a different river. And then his pupil Cratylus said, well, yeah, you cannot step into the same river once because there is no same river. It's just flow, and it's never itself. This is sort of like us because we're always changing. And this is probably due to the nature of the structure of reality. And let's get into this. I'll refer back to my laws of physical nature. But the laws of physical nature could equally be called the laws of consciousness nature, the laws of temporal nature, the laws of causality nature, any of these, because this is the structure of the lived-in world. And because we have time, it's moving and changing, and causality, we have causal sequences, things are happening. Change seems to be the constant. And this is true in the lived-in world, in the shared lived-in world where we are. And this is also true for us here in ourselves. And so our structure is also inclusive of time, of causality, of materiality. So we're the microcosm, and the lived-in world is the macrocosm, and we share this structure. And this is why consciousness is in us, and it's changing. It's changing in accordance with the other features of the structure that organize who we are. So don't be afraid that you're changing. Change if you want to change. Don't change if you don't want to change. Most of the time we don't think about it. We can wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be a different person. And if you're aggressive, you can become passive. If you're passive, you can become aggressive. If you go with the flow, you can become passive aggressive. Whatever you want to do. You can choose to do this or not choose to do it. It's just change is going to be the rule on who you are, because that's the rule on the shared lived-in world, and we are part of that world. So in this, I'm not overly concerned with the subjective, as I've said before. I'm concerned with the intersubjective, the shared reality, and looking at answering this issue is going to tell us once we know where we are, we will know who we are, and then we will know what to do. So thank you for supporting this channel, and we'll see you next time.